Admiral Jake Martinez stood in the control room of Luna Station, watching the stars through the massive windows. But these were not peaceful stars anymore. Red flashes appeared and disappeared across the dark space, each one marking another battle in the Great War that was tearing the galaxy apart. Another fleet engagement in the Sigma sector, reported Lieutenant Amy Walsh from her console. Looks like the Zephyrians lost 3 cruisers this time. Jake nodded but said nothing. For 3 years now, Earth had watched this terrible war from the sidelines. 2 massive alien powers, the Zephyrian Empire and the United Sectors Alliance, were destroying each other with weapons that could crack planets in half. Every day brought news of billions dead. Entire star systems turned to ash. "Sir, we're getting another transmission from the Alliance," said Communications Officer Kevin Brooks. "They want to know if Earth has reconsidered joining their cause." "Same answer as always," Jake replied. "Earth remains neutral." This was Earth's official policy decided by President Linda Carter and the world government. Stay out of the war. Watch and learn, but do not get involved. Many people thought this made Earth look weak or cowardly. Jake knew better. Earth was doing something much smarter. Down on Earth, President Carter sat in her office reading the daily reports. The numbers were staggering. In just the last month, the war had claimed over 50 billion lives. Entire civilizations were being wiped out. Both sides had asked Earth to join them, promising technology and protection in exchange for human soldiers and ships. Carter had refused every offer. Not because she was afraid, but because she was smart. Earth had only discovered faster-than-light travel 10 years ago. They were babies compared to these ancient alien civilizations. Getting involved in their war would be like a child trying to stop 2 giants from fighting. But Earth was not sitting idle. While the aliens fought, humans were learning. Every battle was recorded. Every new weapon was studied. Every tactical mistake was noted and cataloged. Earth was building the most complete database of alien military capabilities in the galaxy. Captain Steve Parker ran one of Earth's most secret projects. His team traveled to recent battlefields in unmarked ships, collecting debris and studying alien technology. They had to be very careful. If either side caught them, it would mean war. "We found something interesting in the wreckage from last week's battle," reported Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the team's lead scientist. "The Zephyrians are using a new type of shield generator. But it has a weakness. If you hit it with the right frequency, it collapses completely." Steve smiled. "Add it to the database. Every weakness we find is another advantage for Earth." Meanwhile, Captain Lisa Hayes was dealing with a different aspect of the war. Her job was to help the refugees who fled the fighting. Every day, ships full of scared aliens arrived at Earth's borders, begging for sanctuary. Earth accepted them all, but not just out of kindness. The Vorthan refugees from the Kepler system have information about Alliance battle tactics, Lisa reported to her supervisor. They watched the Alliance destroy their planet's defenses in under an hour. Each refugee was interviewed carefully. Earth learned about alien psychology, their fears, their weaknesses, and their strengths. The information was invaluable. Earth was not just watching the war from far away. They were learning from the people who had lived through it. Back on Luna Station, Amy Walsh was preparing for another scouting mission. Her ship, the Terra Nova, was one of Earth's fastest vessels. Her job was to get close to battles and record everything that happened. "Be careful out there," Jake told her before she left. "Both sides are getting more aggressive. They're starting to attack neutral ships just because they're paranoid." Amy understood the risk. Last month, a Zephyrian patrol had destroyed a medical ship from the Centauri Republic, claiming it was carrying Alliance weapons. The Alliance had responded by bombing a Zephyrian hospital station. The war was making both sides more and more brutal. Her ship jumped to hyperspace and emerged near the Tau system, where intelligence suggested a major battle was about to begin. Amy kept her ship hidden behind an asteroid field and activated all sensors. Within hours, the battle began. What she saw made her sick. The Zephyrians brought a planet-killer weapon, a massive device that could destroy an entire world. The Alliance colony on Tau 4 had 3 billion people on it, men, women, children, all innocent civilians. The Zephyrians fired their weapon. The planet cracked like an egg. 3 billion lives ended in seconds. But the Alliance response was just as terrible. They launched a biological weapon at the Zephyrian fleet. The weapon ate through the ship's hulls like acid. Amy watched thousands of Zephyrian soldiers die screaming as their ships dissolved around them. "Both sides are monsters," Amy whispered to herself as she recorded everything. Back on Earth, Dr. Kevin Brooks was studying intercepted alien communications. What he found was disturbing. Both alien powers had one thing in common in their private messages. They barely thought about humans at all. Look at this. Kevin showed his findings to President Carter. In over 10,000 intercepted messages, humans are mentioned exactly 12 times. And it's never in a respectful way. They call us the primitive bipeds or the young species that plays with fire. Carter read the translations with growing anger. The aliens saw humans as bugs, annoying insects that might one day need to be stepped on, but not worth serious attention right now. They think we're too stupid to be a threat. Carter said, "That might be our greatest advantage," Kevin replied. Colonel Frank Davis was using that advantage to prepare Earth's defenses. While the aliens ignored the primitive humans, Frank was building the most advanced defense network in known space. Hidden weapons platforms orbited every planet in the solar system. Secret shipyards built new vessels using technology stolen from alien battlefields. "The outer defense ring is complete," Frank reported. "If anyone attacks Earth, they're going to get a very nasty surprise." But Frank hoped it would never come to that. Earth's strategy was working perfectly. Stay neutral. Stay hidden. Learn everything. Let the aliens destroy each other while humans grew stronger in secret. As Jake Martinez watched another distant battle from Luna Station, he wondered how long this strategy would work. Both alien powers were getting desperate. Desperate people made desperate choices. And sometimes desperate choices led to terrible mistakes. Jake didn't know it yet, but one of those terrible mistakes was heading toward Earth right now. Commander Lisa Hayes walked through the refugee camp on Mars, listening to the stories of survivors from a dozen different worlds. Each story was the same. War had come to their planet and everything they loved was destroyed. But these stories also gave Earth something precious: information. "The Zephyrians hit our world with something new," explained Vex, a blue-skinned Altarian whose home planet was now a ball of melted rock. "It wasn't just a weapon. It was like the planet itself turned against us. The ground opened up and swallowed our cities." Lisa nodded and made notes. Every detail mattered. Earth scientists would study this information and figure out how the weapon worked. More importantly, they would figure out how to stop it. "Thank you for sharing this with us," Lisa said gently. "Earth will make sure you and your family are safe." She meant it. Earth took its role as a sanctuary seriously. But the refugee program served another purpose. Every alien who came to Earth brought knowledge: battle plans, weapon designs, cultural weaknesses, and tactical preferences. Earth was building a complete picture of both alien powers through the eyes of their victims. Colonel Steve Parker's Black Operations team was also gathering intelligence, but in a much more dangerous way. His ship, the Silent Arrow, moved through space like a ghost, visiting battlefields after the fighting was over. "Sensors show clear," reported Maya Johnson, his technology specialist. "The Zephyrian fleet left 6 hours ago. The debris field should be safe to investigate." Steve's team moved quickly through the wreckage. Broken ships drifted in the dark, their hulls cracked open like broken shells. Inside, they found pieces of alien technology that Earth scientists had never seen before. "This looks like some kind of quantum processor," said Ryan Clark, the team's infiltration expert. "If we can figure out how it works, it might give us an edge in computer warfare." Steve watched his team work with pride. They were risking their lives every time they came to these places. If either alien power caught them scavenging battlefield debris, it would mean war. But the risk was worth it. Every piece of technology they recovered made Earth stronger. Back on Earth, President Carter was meeting with the heads of every major government. The war was getting worse and pressure was building for Earth to choose a side. "The Alliance has offered us their shield technology," said General Frank Davis. "In exchange, they want us to provide them with soldiers and raw materials." "And the Zephyrians?" Carter asked. "They're offering us 3 star systems if we help them destroy the Alliance research stations in the Beta sector." Carter shook her head. "Same answer as always. Earth remains neutral." Some of the generals looked frustrated. Carter understood their feelings. It was hard to watch billions die while Earth did nothing. But doing nothing was actually doing everything. Earth was playing the long game. "General Davis, how are our defensive preparations coming along?" Carter asked. Frank smiled. "Better than expected. The new orbital platforms are online. Each one has enough firepower to destroy a battleship, and they're completely invisible to alien sensors. This was Earth's real strategy. While everyone thought humans were too weak and stupid to matter, Earth was building defenses that would shock the galaxy, hidden weapons, secret technologies, and most importantly, battle plans that no alien mind could predict. Dr. Sarah Mitchell was working on the most important part of Earth's preparation, understanding how aliens think. Her team had studied thousands of hours of battle recordings, and they had found something amazing. Look at this pattern. Sarah showed her data to President Carter. Both alien powers fight the same way their ancestors fought 1,000 years ago. They have better weapons, but their tactics haven't changed at all. What does that mean for us? Carter asked. It means they're predictable. They follow honor codes and traditional strategies. They can't adapt quickly to new situations. Humans can. This was humanity's secret weapon. Not better technology or bigger ships, but flexible thinking. Humans could change their plans in the middle of a battle. They could use tricks and deception that would never occur to an alien mind. Captain Amy Walsh was seeing this alien inflexibility firsthand during her scouting missions. Her latest assignment took her to the edge of Zephyrian space, where a massive fleet was preparing for an assault on Alliance territory. The Zephyrian battle plan was carved in stone tablets and distributed to every ship captain. They would attack in 3 waves, following a pattern that their military had used for centuries. It was effective, but it was also completely predictable. Amy recorded everything and sent the data back to Earth. Within hours, Earth's military computers had analyzed the Zephyrian strategy and developed 17 different ways to defeat it. The Zephyrians will win this battle, Amy reported, but only because the Alliance is using the same old tactics they always use. If someone fought them with human strategies, the Zephyrians wouldn't know what hit them. Meanwhile, Kevin Brooks was making a disturbing discovery in the alien communications he was monitoring. Both powers were starting to notice Earth's neutrality, and they didn't like it. Listen to this. Kevin played a recording for his team. It's a private conversation between 2 Zephyrian admirals. The translation was chilling. The humans think they can sit out this war and pick up the pieces afterward. They're wrong. When we finish with the Alliance, we'll deal with these upstart monkeys. A similar conversation from the Alliance was just as threatening. Earth's neutrality is an insult to every being who has died in this war. They should be forced to choose a side. Kevin took his findings to President Carter immediately. Both sides are getting angry about our neutrality, he reported. They're starting to see us as a problem. Carter wasn't surprised. How long do you think we have before one of them decides to do something about it? Maybe 6 months? Maybe less. Carter called an emergency meeting of Earth's leadership. It was time to accelerate their preparations. Project Prometheus is now our top priority, she announced. General Davis, I want every hidden weapon system online within 60 days. Colonel Parker, double your intelligence gathering efforts. And Dr. Mitchell, I need a complete analysis of alien psychological weaknesses. Are we preparing for war? Asked one of the generals. We're preparing for survival, Carter replied. Both alien powers are starting to view Earth as a threat to their plans. It won't be long before one of them decides to eliminate that threat. As the meeting ended, Carter stood alone in her office, looking up at the stars. Earth had hoped to stay out of the Galactic War until it burned itself out. But the war was coming to Earth whether they wanted it or not. The only question now was whether Earth would be ready when it arrived. Carter thought about all the preparation they had done. The hidden weapons, the stolen technology, the understanding of alien weaknesses. Earth might be young and small compared to the galactic powers, but they had something the aliens had lost long ago. They had the element of surprise. 3 months later, both alien powers would make their move. They would come to Earth not as conquerors, but as manipulators. They would try to use humanity as a tool in their war. It would be the biggest mistake either power had ever made, but Earth was ready for them. Captain Tony Rodriguez was having a normal day monitoring deep space communications when something unusual appeared on his screens. 2 large fleets were approaching Earth's solar system, but they weren't fighting each other. One was Zephyrian, the other was Alliance, and they were traveling together. This doesn't make sense, Tony muttered, checking his readings again. These 2 powers have been killing each other for 3 years. Why are they working together now? He sent an urgent message to Luna Station. Within minutes, Admiral Jake Martinez was on the communication link, his face tense with worry. Are you sure about this? Jake asked. Positive. Both fleets are broadcasting diplomatic codes. They're requesting permission to enter Earth's solar system for peace negotiations. Jake felt a cold chill run down his spine. After 3 years of brutal war, both alien powers suddenly wanted to make peace. And they wanted to do it on Earth? Something was very wrong. "I'll contact President Carter immediately," Jake said. "Keep monitoring those fleets. I want to know everything they're doing." On Earth, President Carter was meeting with her advisors when the news arrived. The room fell silent as Jake explained the situation over video link. "They want to use Earth as neutral ground for peace talks," Jake reported. "Both fleets have requested permission to establish temporary bases in our outer solar system." Ambassador Grace Phillips, Earth's chief diplomat, looked confused. "This is actually good news, isn't it? If they make peace, the war ends." But Dr. Sarah Mitchell shook her head. "It's too sudden. Too convenient. These two powers hate each other more than anything in the universe. They wouldn't just decide to make peace unless they found something they hate more than each other," added Colonel Steve Parker quietly. Carter felt her stomach drop. "What do you mean?" "Think about it. What's the one thing that both alien powers have in common? They both see humans as inferior. Maybe they've decided that Earth is becoming too much of a threat." General Frank Davis was already thinking along the same lines. "If I wanted to conquer Earth without looking like the aggressor, this is exactly how I'd do it. Come in under the flag of peace, establish bases in our system, then strike when we're not expecting it." Carter made her decision quickly. "Grant them permission to enter our system, but keep them in the outer regions. And activate all our hidden monitoring systems. I want to know everything they're doing." The next few days were tense as both alien fleets established their temporary bases. They set up on asteroids and small moons, claiming they needed the space for their diplomatic facilities. But Earth's hidden sensors were watching everything. Captain Amy Walsh was assigned to monitor the alien activities from her ship, the Terra Nova. What she saw made her increasingly worried. The diplomatic facilities looked more like military command centers, and both fleets were deploying far more equipment than any peace negotiation would require. "They're installing some kind of transmission arrays," Amy reported to Earth. "Big ones. Whatever they're for, it's not just communication." Meanwhile, Captain Tony Rodriguez had been working around the clock to intercept alien communications. Most of their messages were encrypted, but Tony's team had learned to crack alien codes during the 3 years of war. What they found was terrifying. "I've got something," Tony announced during an emergency briefing. "The aliens think their communications are secure, but we've been monitoring everything." He played the translated conversation for President Carter and her advisors. The voice belonged to Admiral Zektar, the Zephyrian fleet commander. "The peace negotiations are just a cover. Once our monitoring stations are in place, we can disable Earth's defenses in minutes. The humans will never see it coming." A second voice responded, this one belonging to Alliance Commander Velsha. "Agreed. The humans have been useful as observers, but they're starting to ask too many questions. Better to eliminate the problem now before they become a real threat." The room was silent as the full horror of the situation became clear. Both alien powers had decided that Earth needed to be destroyed. The peace negotiations were fake. The diplomatic mission was actually a military operation designed to conquer Earth from within. "How long do we have?" Carter asked. Dr. Sarah Mitchell was analyzing the alien deployment patterns on her computer. "Based on what they're installing, I'd say maybe 48 hours. Once those transmission arrays are online, they can send a signal that will disable every satellite and defense platform we have. Unless we stop them first," added General Frank Davis. Carter looked around the room at her advisors. 3 years ago, Earth had been a peaceful planet that had just learned to travel between stars. Now they were facing the two most powerful military forces in the galaxy, and those forces wanted to wipe humanity from existence. "Do we have any options besides surrender?" Carter asked. Steve Parker spoke up. "We've been preparing for this day for 3 years. Our hidden defenses are ready. Our ships are equipped with technology that the aliens don't know we have. And most importantly, we understand them better than they understand us." "You're talking about war," said Ambassador Phillips. "Earth has never fought a galactic war. Earth has never had a choice," Carter replied. "They came here under the flag of peace, but they're planning genocide. We can't let that happen." Jake Martinez was watching the alien deployments from Luna Station when he spotted something that made his blood run cold. "President Carter, you need to see this." The aliens are moving their fleets into attack positions. The screens showed both alien fleets spreading out through the solar system. They were no longer staying in the outer regions where they had been assigned. They were moving closer to Earth, and their ships were powering up weapons. They're not waiting for their transmission arrays to be ready, Jake realized. They're going to attack now. In space, Captain Tony Rodriguez watched as the first alien ships began moving toward Earth's inner system. His communication arrays picked up new transmissions from both fleets. The messages were short and simple. All units, prepare for subjugation operations. Target priority, Earth military installations. Secondary target, major population centers. Tony sent the intercept to Earth immediately. Within minutes, alarms were sounding all over the planet. President Carter stood in the command center, watching as enemy fleets approached her world. She thought about the 3 years of preparation, the hidden weapons, the stolen technology, and the understanding of alien psychology that Earth had gained. General Davis, are our defenses ready? She asked. All hidden platforms are online. All secret weapon systems are armed. And our fleet is standing by. Carter took a deep breath. Earth had hoped to stay out of the Galactic War. They had tried to remain neutral, to avoid the violence that was tearing the galaxy apart. But the war had come to them anyway. This is President Carter to all Earth forces, she announced over the communication system. We are under attack by hostile alien forces. All units are authorized to defend Earth by any means necessary. She paused, thinking about the peaceful planet Earth had been just a few hours ago. Operation Prometheus is now active. Show them what humans can do. In space, the alien fleets continued their approach, confident that they were about to crush a primitive world that couldn't possibly threaten them. They had no idea that Earth had been preparing for this moment for 3 years. They had no idea that humans fight very differently than any other species in the galaxy. They were about to learn why that was a problem. The aliens thought they were hunting helpless prey. Instead, they had just woken up a predator that had been quietly watching them for 3 years, learning their weaknesses and preparing for this exact moment. Earth's time of hiding was over. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humans were really capable of. The first sign that something was wrong came when the alien fleets tried to scan Earth's defenses. Captain Ben Wright watched from the Bridge of the Liberty as the enemy sensors swept across the solar system, looking for military targets. The scans found nothing. How is this possible? Admiral Zektar demanded from his flagship. Our sensors show no weapons platforms, no defense grids, nothing but primitive satellites. Commander Velshaw from the Alliance fleet was equally confused. Intelligence reports said the humans had been building military installations for 3 years. Where are they? What the aliens didn't know was that Earth's defense platforms were built using technology that their sensors couldn't detect. 3 years of studying alien equipment had taught human engineers exactly how to hide from alien eyes. All stealth systems are working perfectly, reported Captain Rachel Davis from her command ship, the Freedom. The aliens have no idea what's coming. President Carter watched the alien fleets approach from the command center deep under Earth's surface. She could see their formations on the tactical display, arrogant and confident as they moved to attack what they thought was a defenseless world. Begin Phase 1, Carter ordered. Across the solar system, hundreds of hidden weapon platforms suddenly appeared on alien sensors. They had been there all along, invisible and waiting. Now they powered up simultaneously, their energy signatures blazing like new stars. Where did those come from? Admiral Zektar shouted as his tactical display lit up with threats that hadn't been there seconds before. But there was no time to figure out an answer. The platforms opened fire. The weapons that struck the alien fleets were unlike anything they had ever faced. These weren't the predictable energy beams or missile barrages that aliens used against each other. These were human weapons designed by minds that thought completely differently about warfare. Captain Mark Sullivan commanded one of the attack squadrons aboard his ship, the Defiance. His weapons fired rounds that looked like simple projectiles to alien sensors, but when they hit their targets, they released clouds of nanobots that ate through alien armor like acid through paper. Direct hit on the Zephyrian cruiser, Sullivan reported. Their hull is disintegrating. Admiral Zektar watched in horror as one of his most powerful ships simply fell apart in space. What kind of weapon is that? How are they doing this? The answer was simple. Humans had spent 3 years studying alien technology and psychology. They knew exactly how alien ships were built and how alien minds worked. Every weapon Earth used was designed to exploit weaknesses that the aliens didn't even know they had. Captain Amy Walsh led another attack group in the Terra Nova, using weapons that the aliens couldn't understand or counter. Her ship fired missiles that separated into dozens of smaller projectiles mid-flight. The aliens tried to shoot them down, but there were too many targets moving in too many directions. Their defensive systems can't track our missiles, Amy reported. They're designed to stop big, obvious threats, not swarms of small ones. This was the difference between human and alien thinking. Aliens built bigger weapons to solve problems. Humans built smarter weapons. But the real shock for the alien fleets came when they tried to use their own advanced tactics against Earth's forces. Both the Zephyrians and the Alliance had battle strategies that had worked for thousands of years. They were proud of their military traditions and their honorable way of fighting. Humans didn't care about honor. They cared about winning. The Zephyrian fleet is forming their traditional attack formation, reported Dr. Sarah Mitchell from the Tactical Center. According to our studies, they'll try to break our line with a concentrated assault on our weakest point. Which weakness are they targeting? Asked General Frank Davis. The one that doesn't exist, Sarah smiled. They think our left flank is vulnerable because that's where they would put their weak ships. But we don't arrange our forces the way they do. The Zephyrian attack hit nothing but empty space. The human ships they thought were weak were actually some of the strongest. The formation they thought was a mistake was actually a trap. Commander Velsha from the Alliance was having the same problem. Our battle computers can't predict their movements, she reported to her fleet. They're not following any logical tactical pattern. That was because humans weren't using alien logic. They were using human creativity, unpredictability, and adaptation. Every time the aliens thought they understood the human strategy, the humans changed it. Captain Tony Rodriguez was coordinating the electronic warfare from his ship. While the aliens tried to jam human communications, Tony's team was doing something much more clever. They were hacking into alien systems and feeding them false information. The Zephyrian flagship thinks it's winning, Tony reported with satisfaction. Their sensors are showing them destroying human ships that don't actually exist. The aliens were fighting an enemy that wasn't really there while ignoring the real threats all around them. It was psychological warfare at its finest, and the alien minds couldn't cope with it. Meanwhile, Colonel Steve Parker was leading special forces operations that the aliens never saw coming. His teams had studied alien ship designs for 3 years. They knew exactly where the weak points were. Boarding Party Alpha has taken control of the Alliance command ship, Steve reported. They never expected anyone to board them during a space battle. This was another difference between humans and aliens. Alien battles were fought ship to ship with honor and distance. Humans got personal. They boarded enemy ships, sabotaged systems from within, and used the aliens' own technology against them. Admiral Jake Martinez watched the battle from Luna Station with amazement. 3 years ago, Earth had been helpless against either alien power. Now human forces were defeating both powers simultaneously. "How are we doing this?" asked one of his officers. "We learned from them," Jake replied. "For 3 years we watched every battle, studied every tactic, analyzed every weakness. We know these aliens better than they know themselves. But the most devastating human advantage wasn't technology or tactics. It was something that the aliens had lost long ago: the ability to adapt in real time. When the Zephyrian fleet tried a new approach, human forces changed their strategy immediately to counter it. When the Alliance brought in reinforcements, human ships regrouped and attacked from an unexpected direction. They're like fighting smoke, Admiral Zektar complained to his officers. Every time we think we have them, they change into something else. Captain Rachel Davis was demonstrating this flexibility during her engagement with a squadron of Zephyrian destroyers. When her original attack plan didn't work, she improvised a new one on the spot. "All ships switch to pattern 7, she ordered, "but modify it for close-range combat and add a feint to the left." Her squadron adapted instantly. Within minutes, they had destroyed 3 enemy ships using a tactic that hadn't existed until that moment. The aliens couldn't understand how human forces could change their plans so quickly. In their cultures, military strategies were developed by committees and approved by high command. Changes took days or weeks to implement. Humans made up new strategies during the battle and put them into action immediately. As the fighting continued, both alien fleets began to realize that they were not just losing this battle. They were being completely outmatched by a species they had considered primitive and harmless. Status report, demanded Commander Velsha from what was left of her command ship. We've lost 60% of our fleet, her tactical officer replied. The Zephyrians have lost even more, and the humans haven't lost a single major vessel. President Carter watched the battle reports with grim satisfaction. Earth was winning, but she knew this was just the beginning. Word of this battle would spread across the galaxy. Every alien power would want to know how a primitive species had defeated the two strongest military forces in known space. General Davis, prepare our long-range ships, Carter ordered. This battle is almost over, but the war is just beginning. In space, the remnants of both alien fleets were retreating, their proud formations broken and scattered. They had come to Earth expecting an easy conquest. Instead, they had encountered something they never imagined. A species that could outthink them, outfight them, and outadapt them. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and humans didn't plan to ask permission from anyone. Admiral Jake Martinez stood on the observation deck of the newly completed Galactic Peace Station, watching ships from a dozen different species dock at the massive structure. 6 months ago, this would have been impossible. The galaxy had been at war for 3 years, with every species forced to choose between the Zephyrian Empire and the United Sectors Alliance. Now, representatives from both sides were working together to rebuild what the war had destroyed, and it was all because Earth had done something that no one thought possible. They had ended the war by force. The Altarian delegation has arrived, reported Captain Amy Walsh, who now served as the station's diplomatic coordinator. They're requesting a meeting about rebuilding their homeworld. Jake nodded. The Altarians were one of 17 species whose planets had been completely destroyed during the war. Earth had promised to help rebuild every world that had been lost, but only if the fighting stopped permanently. President Carter walked into the observation lounge, followed by her security detail. She looked tired but satisfied as she watched the peaceful traffic around the station. Any word from the Alliance leaders? She asked. Commander Velsha sent a message this morning, Amy replied. The Alliance Council has officially voted to disband their military alliance. They're forming a new organization focused on exploration and trade instead of warfare. Carter smiled. This had been her plan from the beginning. Don't just defeat the alien powers, but give them a reason to change. The carrot had worked better than the stick. The transformation hadn't happened overnight. After Earth's devastating victory over both alien fleets, the galaxy had watched in shock as President Carter addressed every species in known space. Her message had been simple but powerful. The war ends now. Any species that continues fighting will face Earth's full military response. Any species that chooses peace will have Earth's complete support in rebuilding. Many alien leaders had been angry at this ultimatum from a primitive species, but they had also seen what happened to the Zephyrian and Alliance fleets that attacked Earth. Both had been destroyed so completely that survivors were still being rescued from escape pods. Captain Ben Wright commanded one of the rescue operations from his ship, the Liberty. His crew had spent weeks pulling alien survivors from the wreckage of their fleets. The experience had changed many of the rescued aliens' opinions about humans. You saved us, Admiral Zektar had said when Ben's team pulled him from his destroyed flagship. We came to destroy your world, and you saved our lives. That's what humans do, Ben had replied simply. This combination of overwhelming military power and unexpected mercy had shocked the alien powers more than any weapon could have. They were used to enemies who showed no quarter, and allies who demanded total loyalty. Humans offered a third option, friendship without submission. Dr. Sarah Mitchell was leading the psychological analysis of how different species were adapting to the new galactic order. Her research station on Luna had become one of the most important facilities in the solar system. The results are fascinating, Sarah reported during a video conference with Earth's leadership. Most alien species have never encountered a power that was both militarily superior and genuinely peaceful. They don't know how to respond to it. This confusion had worked in Earth's favor. While alien leaders tried to figure out what humans really wanted, Earth had simply done what they promised: help everyone rebuild while keeping the peace. Colonel Steve Parker was overseeing one of the most ambitious rebuilding projects in galactic history. His engineering teams were working with alien scientists to restore the planet Kepler-7, which had been turned into molten rock by a Zephyrian planet-killer weapon. The terraforming systems are working better than expected, Steve reported from orbit around the healing world. The Zephyrian technology that destroyed this planet is now being used to rebuild it. This was another example of human thinking that amazed the aliens. Instead of punishing the Zephyrians for their war crimes, Earth had forced them to use their most destructive technology for peaceful purposes. Planet-killer weapons became planet-healing tools. Captain Tony Rodriguez was managing the most complex part of the new order, making sure everyone kept their promises. His intelligence network now monitored communications across the galaxy, watching for any signs that someone might be planning to restart the war. 2 minor incidents this week, Tony reported during the daily briefing. A Zephyrian patrol ship got into an argument with an Alliance transport, and there was some fighting on the border between the Vega Federation and the Centauri Republic. How did we handle it? Asked President Carter. Standard protocol. We sent a single human ship to the area. Both sides stopped fighting immediately when they saw our flag. This was the new reality of galactic politics. Earth didn't rule the galaxy through conquest or intimidation. They ruled through reputation. Everyone knew that humans could appear anywhere in the galaxy within days, and everyone knew what happened to species. That broke the peace. But Earth's influence went beyond just military power. Dr. Kevin Brooks was leading the cultural exchange programs that were changing how different species thought about each other. We've had over 10,000 aliens visit Earth in the past 6 months, Kevin reported. Most of them had never seen a multi-species society before. They're amazed that humans, Zephyrians, Alliance members, and dozens of other species all live here peacefully. Earth had become a model for the rest of the galaxy, not because humans forced anyone to copy them, but because other species could see that cooperation worked better than conquest. Captain Rachel Davis was commanding one of Earth's most important missions, hunting down the war criminals who had committed the worst atrocities during the 3-year conflict. Her ship, the Justice, traveled from system to system, bringing mass murderers to trial. We found General Mortek hiding on a mining station in the Outer Rim, Rachel reported. He's responsible for the massacre of 12 billion civilians on the Tau worlds. But even these hunts for war criminals followed human principles. The trials were fair, the evidence was public, and the punishments were just. Many aliens expected Earth to simply execute all war criminals, but humans insisted on following proper legal procedures. Why do you show mercy to monsters? Admiral Zektar had asked President Carter during one of their meetings. Because that's what separates us from the monsters. Carter had replied. Captain Mark Sullivan was overseeing the destruction of the galaxy's weapons of mass destruction. Both alien powers had built enough planet-killer devices to destroy every inhabited world in known space. Now, human teams were dismantling these weapons under strict supervision. That's the last of the Zephyrian planet killers, Mark reported as his team finished destroying a weapon capable of cracking worlds in half. All major weapons of mass destruction have been eliminated from this sector. The aliens had been reluctant to give up their ultimate weapons, but Earth had made it clear that this was not negotiable. Any species that wanted to be part of the new galactic order had to prove they were committed to peace. Meanwhile, Captain Lisa Hayes was managing the refugee resettlement program that was becoming one of Earth's greatest successes. Millions of aliens had been displaced by the war, and Earth was helping them find new homes across the galaxy. The Vorthan refugees have been accepted by the Kepler colony, Lisa reported. They'll be helping with the terraforming project while their own world is being rebuilt. This was another example of human problem-solving that impressed the aliens. Instead of just warehousing refugees in camps, Earth found ways for displaced people to contribute to the rebuilding effort while waiting to go home. General Frank Davis was working on the long-term military strategy that would keep the peace for generations. Earth's fleets were now the strongest in the galaxy, but Frank knew that military power alone couldn't maintain peace forever. We're establishing joint training programs with former Alliance and Zephyrian forces, Frank reported. They're learning human tactics, but more importantly, they're learning human values. The former enemies were working together for the first time in their history, united by their shared respect for human military excellence and their fear of what would happen if they fought each other again. President Carter stood in her office, looking out at the stars that were no longer filled with the flashes of distant battles. In 1 year, Earth had gone from being an ignored neutral power to being the leader of galactic civilization. Was this what you planned all along? Asked Admiral Jake Martinez during their weekly meeting. Carter thought about the question. I planned for Earth to survive. Everything else just happened because we stayed true to our principles. As she spoke, reports were coming in from across the galaxy. Trade routes were reopening. Destroyed worlds were being rebuilt. Former enemies were working together on scientific projects. And everywhere the peace was holding. Captain Amy Walsh sent her final report from the Terra Nova as her ship returned from a survey of the former war zones. No active hostilities detected in any system. All species are complying with the peace agreements. The galaxy is officially at peace. Earth had done something that everyone thought was impossible. They had ended a galactic war not by choosing a side, but by refusing to let